We're gonna go out and pick a bunch of morels and show you what I do, how I got them this year. Also, gonna come back here and cook a few up. Mostly, Miss Miranda loves frying them up, reconstitute them in water, fry them up with onions, and she eats them like candy. It's a treat for her. She's on a bit of a different diet than I am. So I'm gonna take you out, show you how I do it. Hopefully it's helpful for somebody who's interested in picking morel mushrooms. So one bucket filled already, and I found this spot here. Now, when I'm hunting burns, I don't necessarily look for what everybody else does, just burned out areas, and I tend to look for cultivated, where when they logged it off and replanted it, they actually cultivated it. They tilled, or I don't know what you call it, but scarified it a little bit before they clean the land. And you can see here, in between with the rows of trees, the rows run pretty lineal. Once you get into them, you can see it. I don't see any mushrooms right off the top of my start of the trip here, but just go in a little ways here and try to figure out the rows. Now, I'm not going to bore everybody with a straight footage of looking for morels. There's actually one over here. So here's the first one I've just come across. Sitting out by itself, hard one to miss. Now, I pull mushrooms, generally speaking, then I'll cut the base off a little bit, clean it up. If it's in this burned out area like this, I'll give it a little blow on it and get some of the soot off. Other than that, I really like these. You can see the line of trees. Sometimes they get a little messy. I guess it depends on who is doing it, but there's certain lines and they go all different directions. And so I like to get into where they've been cultivated a little bit. Just go in, 40, 50 yards where it darkens up just a little bit. Try and show you some of these. So here, it's a perfect example. So you get a lane, probably, 7 or 8 feet wide. I just like to walk up and down these rows, and right there's a mushroom sitting right here. Again, I'll clean it up in a bit. It's hard to do. While I'm down looking, in BC here, I always tend to spot another one. They're rarely alone, so just keep going like that. Fill the bucket up. This is a little tiny bucket, but kind of gives you an idea of what I like, what works for me. I mean, there's all different types of spots that you'll find mushrooms. I'm just pulling a little guy out here. But as I pan over, you can see those, there's 4, 5, 6 right there. Now, what I would normally do is I would do one whole row, come back, the row beside it, next row over, and so on and so on. I don't want to bore everybody with all that, but I will pull a few mushrooms. There's a nice little cluster. It's about the smallest I'll go this time of year. They're starting to get bigger, so there's no need to pull the small ones. I don't think I'll be back to this spot. I just stopped to get a fresh video. Let's see a few more behind this tree here. Right in this hole underneath this stick. That's kind of cute. Hi guys. I don't know if you can see them. That looks like I walked right past one as well. Back here. Perfect. Like I said, I'll clean these all up when I shut the camera off here. Cut the stems off. I just wanted to show everybody. These are a little smaller than the last spot I was at. And you can see there's been some bugs on some of them. I think those are ants. I'm not 100% certain on that, but every once in a while you'll find one that an ant kind of guards, and he'll fight you for it, and usually comes out the loser. Not always. So then I'd normally go up to the top of that row and turn around and come back down. I'm gonna go a little deeper in. They don't seem to be popping up real big in here yet. Interesting area. This, where this black soot and pine needle, where it kind of congregates, I don't know, where it's not wind blown, I guess, or where it is wind blown too, seems to be very popular these days anyway, with where the mushrooms are growing. Let's see, I'm coming on to 2 or 3 right here. Just little guys, so I'll just take the bigger of them. Leave those little guys to grow up a little bit. I mean, they're definitely big enough to eat, but leave them for another day. I'll make another video in a sec. 30 or 40 yards. Oh, I'm just gonna start going downhill, but you can see there's a few here, and a few up here. And you're gonna get a lot of people on the forums and talking online and that sort of thing that say, don't pull the mushroom, blah, blah, blah. But the mushroom's just the fruit of the plant. You know, there's hundreds and thousands of square miles of mycelium growing underneath the ground, and you don't have to worry about pulling the fruit. It's like picking an apple off a tree. You don't leave the stem. Cut the stem off later. And there's going to be people that disagree with me when I say that, but it's just the way it is. Put anything on the internet these days and people disagree with it. Somebody will disagree with that statement. Well, it's not the best picking on the planet, but I mean, they're here and there. You can see little guys as I walk up to them. These ones in the wide open. That's too bad he came from the little guy, but these ones in the wide open, you feel like they're freebies. I was hoping there'd be some nice big juicy ones that I could show you. Just be right on top of this big guy. Okay, there's a couple bigger ones coming up in this tree here. By this tree, I should say. And again, I'm just going to clean them up later. A couple dried, but I'm tending to dehydrate them right now anyway, so. And so it's not necessarily the end of the row, but I like to keep an eye on what row I've been in. It gets a little tricky when 4 or 5 people are planting trees, I guess. Oops, shouldn't be showing you these. When I first got into it, a video like this would have helped me so much, because I had no idea where to start, and I walked around burns endlessly, like I would say for hours and hours before mushrooms had even popped. And you know, this burn happens to be pretty close to home for me, and luckily I've got a permit I can drive in, but you don't need to. I mean, you could be at the side of the road and side of a highway and walk in. A lot of people don't take the stems home. I tend to like the stems. I cut off the dirty part, and I don't wash mushrooms, but I'll make a video on how I dehydrate them and put that up as well. And maybe I'll just put up a few pictures along with this or something, just to show the different ways that you find them. Well, I'm going to walk you through a quick one. What I like to do when I pick morels in BC, I spent a lot of time walking around the woods this year looking for mushrooms before they'd even popped, and now I've kind of got it figured out a little bit here. What works for me anyway. Now, this is just going to be an example. You can see here, it's a typical burned out area, but I look for these cultivation lines, or where they've scarified before they replanted, and you can see then they put in these beautiful rows, lineal rows, and that does 2 things. It allows you an area that you can walk without covering the same ground twice or missing great big patches. This patch I've already picked pretty much. I stopped just up here a little ways, but just give you an idea of what is going on. Where I like to go, you can see the scarified, I think is the right term. I'm not a logger or a tree planter, so that's what I look for basically. And I get into these cut blocks that have been replanted, say 15, 20 years ago, and go from there. I don't see any mushrooms off the top here, but like I said, I've already picked this area, and I'll make more videos and to add to this as we go along. Somebody had made a video like this for me a couple years ago. Would have saved me a lot of hours of looking around, you know. I'm coming down into a low area here as well. I showed you on another video that I'll add over by my truck back there on the other side of the road. This is about where I stopped picking, right just up here. So mushrooms should, here we go. You see down in this little depressed area here. Now I'll clean those up, not to worry. But just to give you an idea of what it's like when you get into an area that has them. Now I'm just randomly walking through right now. I'm not holding a pattern. Sure makes it easy. Up one row, down the next. You don't have to look 20 feet. I mean, sometimes I do 2 or 3 rows when it's wide open like this. I like it a little more closed in, but this doesn't seem to be one of the better areas that I've seen, but it does give you the idea. And like I said, I'll add more videos of finding mushrooms, actually finding mushrooms, as I go along. And trim this one down. I let my dog run through here quite a bit with me, but she tends to get out of control if she finds a bird. As beautiful as she is, and as much as I'd love to have her out with me, she gets a bit bird crazy, so she's had to stay in the truck, which is a bit of a shame. Chased a bird up this morning, a little grouse, and has not given up. There's a grouse behind every tree yet. Won't listen to me. Doing what she's bred for, I guess. But, you know, you tend to pick up a few. I'll clean these up. I just wanted to make a quick video, kind of show you what I do, what works for me. See the little tiny ones, little babies here and there. I like to leave those. Of course, you know. Here's a really good example over here. I mean, they're dirty. These are really dirty, but let's see. Get a little bigger. This tends to be how I find the biggest of them. These ones aren't breaking any world records, but they all taste good. Like I said, you know, I think I'm back into where I picked, but there's still a few around here and there. Almost dried. These ones, I might have left them on purpose and just pulled them for the video. I'll clean them up and when I get back to the truck. You can see here, you can just continue down these scarified holes here and just pick these up by the basket filled full. Oops. I would normally cut them, but it's hard to work a camera and a knife at the same time. So that's about it. I'll keep adding to this as I think of things, little helpful tips and what I've learned. I'll add to it for you. I hope this helps somebody learn how to pick a few more mushrooms. Good luck out there. from the dehydrated form. I'm gonna get them like that, of course. Everyone's seen them like this. They're dry as they come. Just put a few in a cup. Pour in some boiling water. Give that up to 20 minutes, depending on how reconstituted you want them, and cook from there. Today, I'm putting them into a meatloaf. So I've already prepared the meatloaf. All it needs is the mushrooms. I'm gonna dice those up, throw them in, and those are one of my favorite ways of doing them. A little bit goes a long way. That there was just a small handful, like maybe a little more than that, but not much more. So it was one handful anyway. That's it. And that's it. Miranda's gonna kill me. You're showing the kitchen. The kitchen's not clean 100%. No, whatever. It is what it is. So there's a mousse meatloaf with the mushrooms in it. I save the nectar. I always do. I freeze it in ice cubes or freeze the whole amount in a Ziploc bag and just keep dumping it on top of each other. And when I make a mushroom soup, just add that to it. Finish it off. Just a little bit of Greek tomatoes paste. I don't know why Greek, just what I had. That's it, into the oven, 40 minutes. And that's one of my favorite mushroom recipes.